Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pizza Motorcast. It's yours, Dave. I got on allow me Nostalgia Nitro Funny Car driver Wally. How do you say your last name?
Giavia.
Giavia. How are you tonight, Wally?
I'm well.
And Wally drives the G-Man funny car. So, Wally, when did the whole drag racing thing begin for you, and how did it begin?
And if you want to go way back, it started with street racing.
What year did you start street racing?
In the late 60s. And then I went up to like the Tully Speed Shop and started to make my car to go faster. And I started hanging out with them. They had the Ted Gatelli's top fueler. And I started going with them and racing fuel, and that's pretty much what I wanted to do. So that's what I'm doing.
So what year did you start driving nitro?
Well, I went after that into the 70s. I went on tour with Frank Bradley, and we raced top fuel all over the country. And then I did a stint with Jerry Ruth, and then I came back and bought my first funny car. I think it was '79 from Tony McGleesy and Fuzz Miller. And we started racing.
So what was your first funny car?
It was called Pandemonium. It was a '79 Challenger.
And how long did you drive that one for?
About 10 years. When we built a new car in the Dodge Daytona in the '80s, and then I teamed with the guy I was partners with, Fred Masters. He couldn't race anymore, so I didn't know what to do. And then Ray approached me about teaming up with him, and so we ran that for another 5 or 6 years, and then after that, then I didn't have a lot of money, so that sort of got me out of the ride. And so I said, well, okay, that's probably it, because it's just getting so expensive I couldn't do it anymore. Right. And then Jesse Perkins called me, and I drove his Nostalgia Top Fuel front engine dragster for 3 or 4 years. We did fairly well with that. We were runner-up at the March meet. I don't know I can't remember what year it was, but it was in the 90s there, the early 90s. And then he got out of it, and I figured, okay, well, I've done this enough. And then we went to Bakersfield one year when they just first started that nostalgia class, and I said, well, maybe this might be something to do. We decided to give it a try. It took me a couple of years to get the finances together to build a car. I think my first run was the first time we ran a car was in 2011.
And that's the current car, right? The G-Men car?
Yeah.
Right.
And we just upgraded it this last year. Put a new body on it. We did the chassis.
Yeah, you
went to Tucson last weekend and blew it up.
You used to have a Chrysler, right? The other G-Men car, and you put that one up for sale?
No, I still have it.
Oh, okay. That was the old body, though, right?
Yeah, I still have it. It's up in the rafters.
No one ever bought it yet, huh?
Yeah, it's a Omni now.
So now,
I don't know if you've seen it. But
yeah, I saw the picture. It's black now.
Yeah.
So now, this car you ran at March meet?
No, I don't go to the March meet.
No more?
No, they make you pay. So I don't go.
Yeah.
I'm a budget racer. I don't have to try to run with these guys with, millions of dollars. I can't, they gotta get in free, and, and that's Bakersfield's the only places that they charge you to get in. I mean, to me, it's principle because, I don't think they charge the clowns to perform at the circus, so that's my take on that.
So you just ran up in Arizona?
I ran there, and then I run all in the Northwest for the UNFC Association, and I run the nostalgia races.
The United
I mean, basically, I've run 13 races one year, a couple of years ago, and then now I'm just sort of picking and choosing where I want to go because, without any financial help, I gotta pick the races where I think I can do the best and go there.
Right. So what's the farthest that you travel to race?
Tucson's, from my place here, it's like 1,200 miles. I got back last night. And then we go this summer. I don't know if I'm, they haven't had the payout yet for Edmonton, but we're going to go. They have a 4th of July race at Spokane, and then which is on Wednesday night, and then we go to Seattle on the weekend, Friday and Saturday, and then the next weekend is Edmonton. And the week after that is Mission, and so I mean, there's plenty of races to go to. It's just that I can't afford to go to all of them without, any kind of sponsor help. Ron Hayes from the blower shop helps me out. We banged the blower off down there in Tucson. I didn't have a spare, and so he's offered me one. And, it's just tough. I mean, it's just money.
Right.
Yeah. And the guys that I race, we were down there at Tucson. I got a, fifth wheel, it's a 45-foot Hallmark, but, everybody else had semis. I pull it with my 2001 Chevy pickup.
Yeah.
So, it's a struggle, but, I love doing it, and, we were on a good path down there. We would have qualified, but, again, I broke something in the transmission, and it didn't shift, and so the engine over-revved and backfired. Didn't blow up because we messed it up. It just over-revved because something broke in the gearbox, and I didn't have a spare blower to fix it. If I had a spare blower, I could have fixed it and moved it back out there, but that's the way you got to race when, you don't have a lot of money.
Yeah. And Bobby Cottrell was the big winner, huh?
Yeah.
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 So boring.
Then
race these guys all the time. You race the Bobby Cottrell, you run Ryan Hodson, Gary Dencham, Rupert. All those guys are in the association, and we did pretty good last year, but Spokane, they were number 2 qualifier. Bucky didn't qualify. Rupert blew up all his stuff. He couldn't even make first round. So, there's, you got the chance. It's not like you're just, I wouldn't do it if I didn't think I could have a chance at winning one of these races. And I don't do it just to go out there and say I'm going out racing.
So, Wally, let me ask you, Wally, what's the craziest thing you've done through all these years while you were racing?
Pertaining to what?
Just anything and anything.
Lots of crazy things, but
pertaining to racing.
Some I don't want to admit that I have done.
Pertaining you being at the starting line, from starting line to finish. What's the craziest thing you have done?
Well, I haven't hit anything. I blew up some motors and stuff and caught on fire a few times, but that's about it. You try to be smart driving these cars because, you can get in trouble in a hurry if you don't respect it.
But
you got to respect the machine, but sometimes stuff goes wrong. You put nitro in the tank, and sometimes if something goes wrong, it blows up.
But you've never caused a spectacle, like a scene at a race scene?
And never what?
Have you ever caused a scene? Like something to give you the tension?
I don't really know what you're asking me. Have I ever caused what?
Okay, like people, they do special stunts with their cars. Like, do you have any special stunts with your car?
Yeah, I don't know.
What does he drive?
I can't really understand you.
Ask him that.
You know, this connection is not real good.
Okay, forget it. Okay, go back to your questions.
So now, when you first started drag racing, Wally, what drivers were inspiration to you back then?
Well, guys like Don Perdome and McEwen, which I raced a lot. Because those guys were the best back then, and, you know, I had to race them.
Now, when you first started drag racing, was your family involved with you?
All the time.
How about when you were a little kid? Did your father take you to drag racing?
No. Well, he took me to the races, you know, but he didn't race, but he liked racing, so, you know, I started actually when I was around 12, 13 with the racing go-karts, and I liked the competition.
So go-karts got you into drag racing, huh?
No, it's racing, any kind of racing. I like any kind of racing. It just, I got to do what I think I can do with the experience I had. You know, I was like a crew chief for Bradley for 4 or 5 years, and Jerry Ruth, and what I learned there. And then I just said, well, I want to do my own thing.
So now for the G-Men car, how long's Tim Jensen been working with you?
Pardon me?
For the G-Men car, how long's Tim Jensen been on your crew?
Since the beginning.
Then who are the other crew members?
Alicia Grimes, Glenn Hutchison, Pete Jensen, Tavis McDonald. He's the Canadian connection. Tav comes and helps when he can, you know. He lives in Canada. We go up there, you know, him and his dad and his buddy come down and help us. And, you know, I mean, it's all volunteer crew, you know. I mean, I can't afford to pay anybody.
Right. So now for you, what was it like to get behind the wheel for the first time of a nitro funny car?
How was it like?
Yeah.
It definitely got my attention. That was first license run, and it scared the hell out of me. Went about 300 feet, and this was like, you know, Star Wars. When you go to light speed, everything turns into a blur. You know, you got to get used to it, and you have to, you know, the car's way ahead of you, so you have to catch up with the car.
Right. So when they lowered the body on you, you had no problem with the body going down on you?
No, I love it. That's one of the coolest things about it. You know, it's a hot rod.
So now go ahead. With the g-menfunnycar, what's the quickest runtime you'd had with this one?
580, 248. So far. I mean, we were on a better run there at Tucson, but like I said, the transmission broke. I mean, the incremental numbers were, you know, mid 570, but
Right.
It broke. So that's a woulda, coulda, shoulda. So I don't really stand on that. The 580, 248, we did that. And the run before that, we ran 582, 246. So we got it down pretty good. You know, we're just trying to keep it. You know, this body, the new body, and the chassis we redid is about 60 pounds lighter than the old one. So we're looking forward to the season.
Yeah. Now with the name G-Men, is there any meaning behind that name?
Yeah. It's me and my son. My last name begins with the G, and we're both men, and that's what it is.
I got you.
Has nothing to do with that. You know, that's what it's about. Me and my kid.
So now, Wally, when you get ready to race this car for a weekend of drag racing, what goes into preparation to get this car ready for a weekend of drag racing?
It's all work. You got to go through everything. You got to prepare the car properly. I mean, top to back, top to bottom. You got to go through it, and then when you go to the racetrack, you know you got a car that should be good. But you know, sometimes things still break, and you can't foresee that unless you start, you know, replacing everything all the time. You know, I try to cycle the stuff, but you know, we've been in 6 years. I mean, we haven't kicked the rod out of the thing, and I backfired the blower twice, and both times it was because of parts failure. And then just the rest of it is just, you know, stuff it uses up. Oil, fuel, clutch parts, you know. I mean, that's all a lot of the expense. And, you know, our motor runs really good. You know, we don't burn a lot of parts up. Because when you start doing that, then you start hammering everything, you know, and then your life expectancy of your parts goes way down. I believe that you can make these cars run without, you know, hammering the motor all the time. A lot of these guys say got the money, they don't care. They'll burn pistons and stuff like that. You know, pistons $60, $80 a piece, and rods another $100, and rings another. You know, I mean, just start doing the math, and you know, it's going to be the NFL for me. You know, not for long. I keep trying to race like that. So I got to race smart, and you know, that's why we do it.
So now, what are some of your favorite tracks to run on, Wally?
I like all of them. I like to race. You know, I mean, it's all of where we race at Boise and Spokane and Seattle, and Tucson was nice. I mean, we even go to Yakima, Washington. I match race there for Derek Snelson, who owns the track. And we only run 8th mile, but, you know, anytime you can run the car, it's good. You're having fun.
So what's your preference, quarter mile?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not safe to run that quarter mile up there. I mean, the facility's not, you don't have enough area to stop. And, you know, so that's why we run 8th mile up there. You know, I wouldn't want to run a quarter mile. I wouldn't do it, you know, because, you know, then you're risking everything. And I mean, the track's not that good. I mean, you get about half track and then it starts smoking the tires anyway, so time to get out of it. So we just race at 1/8 of a mile and, you know, put on a good show. We do big burnouts and do some dry hops.
Yeah, that bring back the old days for the fans to see the long smoky burn and the dry hops. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they actually get pretty good attendance up there on that little track. But we usually put it to where we go there, and then we'll go to Spokane, and then at the first part of the year, and then we'll go to Boise, and then we go back to Yakima. And, you know, he pays me decent. So I mean, and you don't have to really lean on anything. I mean, it's just more of a match race and put on a good show for the crowd.
No.
You know, when you go race the Heritage or the UNFC series, I mean, that's hardball racing. I mean, that's all out racing, and that's what I like. I just wish I had more money to be able to buy more stuff, but I mean, that's every drag racer's problem, unless you're billionaire to begin with, or $5 million, and then you'll have $1 million left when you're done.
Now, do you think you'd ever run at Funny Car Cast?
I went there with Mike Morrell. We went to Denton, Texas last year. No, it's too far away, and they don't pay enough money. You know, I mean, we drove 2,100 miles, and I think he ended up getting 1,500. They won't even cover the fuel cost to get down there. So no, if they raise the purse, yes. I mean, this is, you got to run it like a business. If you can't make any money, you're not going to be around very long. Unless you got an abundance of money to keep feeding this thing, because it eats up a lot of parts and money. And if you can't, you know, that's why I'm a member of the UNFC, because they pay better than anybody. They pay more money to win. They pay more round money. You go into the track, how many passes do you need? And they treat us very well. That's why I support it.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the engine of the funny car?
Yeah, it's a TFX, which is I got Alan Johnson, and I got Alan Johnson heads, and got the blower shop blower, and you know, they had these new mags, but they didn't seem to work out good, so I got the Sorello mag in it, Velasco crank, MGP rods, Magnolia pistons. Got the Stage 5 rockers and rocker stands. I mean, I got all good parts. You got to take care of them. I have 5 sets of heads and spare short block, 2 spare cranks. So I mean, I got some parts. Just getting there, and then now this nitro deal. I don't know what that. Nobody has any nitro, and then they want to. The guys that you can get it now for, they want to charge you $1,600 a barrel, $1,500 or $1,600 a barrel, and the prize money hasn't gone up. So again, you do the math. You double the price of the fuel, and you race for the same amount of money. Doesn't work.
Yeah, that's what I heard. The price of nitromethane has been going up.
Well, I mean, it cycles like that. I mean, it's never gone up to this high, you know. So I still got like 100 gallons left. So I'll see what happens when I run out, and I'll see what the price is. If the price is too high, I'll park it till it comes back down to where it's reasonable.
Right. So now, Wally, what would you consider the milestones of your drag racing career?
Just to be able to do it and survive. That's all I want to do, is be able to go out there and compete. And I mean, I don't know if you remember, like in the guy like Bruce Larson, he was the world champion. I raced him at Sears Point in the first round and beat him. I raced Don Perdome and beat him. He beat me 50 times. I beat him once. I raced John Force. I've raced Mark Oswald, Tom McEwen. I mean, all the guys from through that the whole time I've been doing this. So that's my deal. I mean, being able to go out there and do it.
Okay, let me.
I don't have the budget that these guys have, so. But if you can go out there and qualify, and we qualify it almost everywhere we go, unless something goes wrong, and then you break something and you don't have enough stuff to fix it, so you're basically done for that race. You got 3 or 4 motors in the trailer and blowers and all that. It's easy to fix. But all that stuff costs, nothing's cheap.
All right. Now, let me ask you this question, Wally. Throughout all these years of racing all these big names and all that, have you had a greatest competitor of all time?
Nah, not really. I mean, I treat them all the same. I try to beat everybody I race against. I'm not intimidated by anyone. So I just go up there and do my thing and try to beat them. And what else can you do? I don't get into I got to race Bucky Austin, and I raced him a bunch of times. I beat him once too. I beat Ryan Hudson at Spokane. But it's just I love to race, and that's why I do it. If I didn't love it, it's too much work, it's too much money, and if you don't really enjoy it, you need to find something else to do.
Now, do you have any hobbies outside of drag racing?
Not really. I got 5 acres up here that I got to maintain, and that's...
What 5 acres is your farm?
5 acres?
Be done, and...
Farm?
Farmland? Home stuff. And,
so you got 5 acres?
Yeah, you don't have time.
5 acres of farmland?
No, I don't farm. I ain't got time to farm. Just your landscaping, maintenance on the property.
Right.
And, and I like to have fun. I have my friends come up. I got a big place, and I'm fortunate enough because I used to live in the Bay Area, and it was so high priced I couldn't get this kind of property. That's why I moved to Oregon 23 years ago, and I'm happy up here. I live in the mountains. It's 4,200 feet. We get snow and rain and hail, and it's a lot of wildlife. We do go snowmobiling in the winter sometimes, and got a couple sleds, me and my son, and take the RV up to the lake and spend a day or 2 up there, have some fun.
Now, how old is your son?
27.
Has he ever done any drag racing at all?
Yeah, on his motorcycle. He goes over to Medford and races over there. He's a big kid. I told him, I said, I'll let you drive the car, but you got to lose some weight. And it's like 240 pounds. But he's big all over. He played football and all that. And I said, you got to be able to, be comfortable in the car.
Right.
He says, well, build me a new... I said, no, I can't build me a new car so I can fit. No, that doesn't work. You want to drive the car, lose the weight. I know you can lose the weight.
Now, throughout your whole career, how many trophies have you won?
Not a whole lot. 5 or 6. But, you don't go out there with that attitude. I go out there and try to win every race. But to be out there is what's the cool part for me.
Right, get out there and give a show for the fans that are out there.
Yeah, and get to race a nitro funny car. Who gets to do that? Not too many people.
Now, if you ever got asked by a big show team to drive their funny car, would you do it?
I do it, but nobody ever asked me. First of all, I'm too old right now. I'm the same age as Forrest. And we usually, if the guy wanted me to drive it, yeah, I'd love it. But it's so far out of reach. You got to get real, these guys are spending $3, $5, $6 million a year on each car. And a lot of them, they want the driver to bring a sponsor or money and stuff like that. So, now, a good friend of mine, Rich Townsend, he just started the big show deal. He bought a car from Petragon, and they're going to Houston this week. And I helped them work on that when I was I redid my car at his shop down in California. And I went with him to the test session in Bakersfield and stuff like that. But again, those guys got money, but they don't have Schumacher and Force money, so let's see how they do. They get to do it. That's the thing. That's why normally everybody does it, because we have a lot of fun doing it. It's fun to drive the car. You're not going to get that experience anywhere else. Nitro funny car, even though it's a nostalgia funny car, there's no other cars that, accelerate as hard as, Top Fuel, and then, you got these A-Fuel cars that we're limited by the rules. We can only have a 21-gallon fuel pump. We can only have a 671 blower. Points ignition. So, the car's going to eventually, Bucky's got to figure it out. Only going to go so fast with what you got. And they're going to keep it like that. But, 5 seconds at nearly 250 is a pretty good ride.
Yeah. So now, Wally, if you could do time traveling and go back in time, would you do anything differently?
Probably not. Maybe just stay away from it to begin with, and then I would just be a different life, but I enjoy it. No, there's always things. You can't second guess yourself. It's just what you want to do, and then when you're young, you don't really think about it. You say, oh, this is cool, this is what I want to do. So no, I wouldn't change nothing.
So,
maybe if I would have stayed with it, in the early 70s, I probably got up to be a crew chief or stuff like that. But back then there was no money in it, and I had a family. So I was an operating engineer for 44 years. I worked for Local 3, and then I worked up here at 701. It was all union contracting, and so I got a decent pension and Social Security. So if I didn't have the race car, I could live quite comfortably. But it takes a lot of money.
So if you weren't drag racing, what do you think you'd be doing?
Well, eventually, I don't know. If I put my kid in the car, I'll keep doing it until I can't do it no more. I still like, I got a RV, and, me and my wife will, in the winter we'll go take off somewhere, and even if I got a break in the summer, we like to go to the coast and camp out for a few days. But I don't know. I'm not the type of guy that's going to go play golf 3 times a week. I'll do something. I'll start restoring cars and stuff, and I got a big shop here. Big for me, a couple thousand square feet, and just for my race car and whatever else I want to do.
So, Wally, what's your favorite food to eat?
What's my favorite what?
What's your favorite food to eat?
Oh, pretty easy. Since I'm Italian, I like Italian food.
Now, does your wife cook? Does your wife make Italian food?
Yeah.
What would you consider your favorite dish that your wife makes?
Italian pot roast.
Italian pot roast.
Italian pot roast?
No, Italian pot roast.
Oh.
So, what's your favorite beverage?
Alcohol or regular?
Either way or both, whatever you want to answer to.
Yeah. I don't drink much soda. Drink water. At the end of the day, I like
Cold one?
a cold one and maybe a shot or two. Crown. And I'm good.
You have a favorite beer?
Huh?
You have a favorite beer?
Of course, I like Coors Light.
So after
Not a connoisseur of beer.
after
I like the light beers.
after a long day at the track racing, cold beer at nighttime?
Absolutely.
There you go. What's your favorite music?
Rock and roll.
Like classic
Old or new.
classic rock and roll?
Old or new.
Old or new?
Yeah, I like both of it. I like, sometimes I'll listen to some weird stuff, just, that's weird to me, but
What kind of music do you consider weird music?
some of this rapper stuff, but, I'll listen to it for a while, just to see where they're coming from, what message you're trying to get. I mean, that's what a song is, trying to deliver a message.
You don't like metal?
How about, do you listen to any heavy metal music?
Yeah.
What do you listen to?
So,
I like the older stuff, the heavy metal older stuff, like, Metallica.
Slayer?
Black Sabbath?
Yeah, they're alright.
How about Slayer?
She's asking you if you ever listened to the band Slayer.
Yeah. Five Finger Death Punch. My kid got me on that stuff.
Yeah, so that's where the newer comes in. Your kid listens to the newer stuff, so they...
The next generation, yeah.
Right. So now, do you watch movies at all?
Sometimes, not a lot.
Do you have a favorite movie of all time?
I like The Godfather. That series.
Do you have a favorite actor?
Not really, All the guys that I liked are dead,
So was John Wayne one of your favorites?
John Wayne's dead?
I like the Cowboys. I like cowboy movies
John
too,
Wayne's
but
dead?
Yeah, long time ago.
Oh.
You like?
he wasn't one of my favorites. I liked his movies, but I wasn't really that big of a fan,
Wow.
How about the old Clint Eastwood movies?
The old what?
The old Clint Eastwood movies.
Yeah, I like those. I've seen every one of those. Yeah, I like Clint Eastwood. He was one of my favorites.
Yeah, and he's a good director too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how about TV? You watch TV at all?
I'll record the races and stuff. I watch Formula One. I watch the IndyCar. I watch some of NASCAR. Formula One and IndyCars are pretty good. I like football.
So what would be the fondest memory of your whole career drag racing?
The what?
What would be the fondest memory of your whole drag racing career?
Getting to do it.
Just driving a nitro funny car.
Yeah. That's why I do it. You know, and the challenge, you know, of competition. I love competition, and I love racing these guys. It's a lot of fun. They're all pretty good guys, too.
Yeah, in the pits, they're all your good friends, but on the starting line, that all changes.
Yeah, you want to rip their heart out, but, you know, after that, you know, then it's back to being friends. Just like playing a sport, you know, you want to beat the other team or the other person or whoever you're playing against. And it hasn't really been. Like I said, they're all pretty good guys.
Right.
You know, some guys that I don't get along with, I just leave alone.
So now, Wally, if people that are listening to this interview right now want to find your schedule, where you're going to be running at, where should they look for your schedule online?
Well, Boise, and then July 4th is Spokane, and July 5th and 6th is Seattle, and then the week after that is Edmonton, and the week after that is Mission, and then be back to Boise. I think Salt Lake is in there. I don't know exactly what the date. I haven't got too much info on that. And that's a pretty good pull to go there. And the track is, it's good. You know, it's not as good as the other ones, but, you know, that makes it a race. You know, I mean, you got a lot of these races that, you know, where the tracks, you know, you can basically throw everything you got at it. And some tracks you have to finesse. You know, that don't have the traction. You know, you can see by the ETs of all the cars, everybody slows down. You can't go as fast. You know, you lose traction and whatever. I mean, but you're racing. And that's part of the game, too. You got to figure out how to get down the track better than the other guy. And so it's all good.
Then your G-Men Nostalgia Nitro Funny Car page, you keep that one updated with what's going on?
Yeah, my son does.
And then people can also look at the United Nitro Funny Car page, right?
Correct.
Find out where all the events are going to be at.
Yep. And then the NHRA's got the Heritage Series, so, I mean, the information's out there.
Right. So, well, Wally, I want to thank you very much for your time, for coming on air with me tonight. Do you have any final words for the fans that are listening right now?
Do I have what?
Any final words for the fans that are listening to this interview right now?
No, I think it's some of the best racing out there right now. You know, so I thank them for their support. You know, I mean, most of the places we go, we get pretty good turnouts, and the more we keep doing it, you know, you have to build a brand, you know, and the UNFC, you know, once you get, you know, after the first year or two, you start, you know, people go out there and say, hey, that was a great race and stuff, and they tell their friends, and then, you know, more people come the next year. That's how Boise has done it, you know. They've been doing it for 50 years. Look at the March meet. That's been going on 50, 60 years. And, you know, so these new venues take a little bit of time. But the UNFC races are, I mean, those are the best nostalgia funny cars in the country. You know, all those races, it was a 5-second field. Everybody's running 5 side by side. And, yeah, it's great entertainment. And that's basically what we're doing. We're in the entertainment business, and, you know, try to put on a good show for the fans so they come back, because if the fans come to the stands, then you pretty much don't have any place to race.
Yep. Well, Wally, I
mean, that's what NASCAR's going through now. I mean, you know, nobody's going. The racing isn't that good.